What's something that makes you smile?
Seeing pictures of my niece. I like that, and I like a good joke. You know? Yeah, lots of things make me smile. I mean, not a lot, but they're hard fought for, but when you get them, they're pretty good, I think. So, yeah, but I'll go with that.
What's something you're really proud of?
I guess that I'm following a passion that I have and doing what I want. I don't look at like any accomplishments with pride, just because my brain would work with there's always more to do, or there's always more that can be done, or that was in the past, and I don't want to dwell on anything, you know, be like the old, you know, football captain in high school kind of thing, you know, we'll rest on the laurels. So I guess it's that I guess if I was proud of anything, or with something that I'm content with, is that I'm just always looking for something new to do and trying to progress. I'm alive, so that's pretty cool, I guess.
What's something you can do today that you couldn't do a year ago?
This? Yeah. Really, I guess it could be having like an honest and authentic conversation without having to, like, you know, throw up the door and like let you deal with the moat that I have in front of the things that I would tell you. I can be more honest and open, and you know, I do thank my art to that. It's helped me get to know myself, so when I'm giving you an honest answer, it's honest, it's not something that I think you want to hear, you know? Yeah.
What's a risk you would take if you knew you couldn't fail?
No, it's not really a risk if I can't fail now, is it? If I couldn't fail, I would just pick up and move tomorrow. I would throw a dart at a map and I would just go. Maybe I'll have a couple throws, because I'm not, you know, I don't want to live in the middle of the ocean. I can't swim, so that's probably not going to be the best thing in the world, but I would definitely pick up and move tomorrow. I would just live out of a suitcase, lease a few vans, and just, you know, be a wandering man. If I knew there was no way that I could end up destitute and not make it, then yeah, I would definitely just grab the bindle and stick my thumb out and let infinity take me away. Yeah, that's what I would do.
What's your greatest emotional fear?
I fear that I push away people that actually understand me, and that as much as you want to go wandering through the planet, like the last question said, you know, just like letting the air catch your kite, it kind of can be I don't mind being alone, but I rarely feel lonely, but I think whether language was a barrier or some kind of deeper spiritual comprehension was unavailable, I think it would be really terrifying to live without anyone being able to peer into you and at least understand a fraction or iota of what you are, what you've been through. The strange part is, I feel like that fear when it's realized, it's of my own doing, which maybe there's a guilt or a shame attached with that. You know, when you put the bricks up between you and another person or people in general. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing quite like being understood, but the opposite feeling is when people say they understand and you know they don't. So my greatest emotional fear, I guess, would be living in a world where you felt the absurdity of loneliness, fully alone, without a co-pilot or kind of a crew to help, you know, reinforce your needs. Yeah, that.
Who is someone that changed your life?
My mom. My mom and my grandfather. I think everybody had difficulties in their childhood. You know, they might have had, you know, events or anything that kind of, you know, their own personal demons that they were unable to cut out, or maybe things that were difficult to go through. And my mother provided me with, she never gave up on me. She never would allow herself to turn her back on me, even when things were bad and I was acting a fool and, you know, getting into some trouble. And my grandfather, you know, provided me with like unconditional love and support. And he was like, if there's a human embodiment of what the kids call a safe space, then it would have been just in his sphere. And between the two of them, you know, and that's not to kick sand on anybody else's influence in my childhood or through my life, but when I think of people who I can honestly say, whether they taught me or helped me discover, you know, empathy or what's ethical and what's not, it would definitely be those people, at least in the formative years in my life, who if they weren't around, I'd probably either be dead or buried under the jail. So I really appreciate that I had at least those two people in my life, not even just one of them, but both of them at the same time for the most part. Yeah.
They saw you.
They saw me. They wouldn't let go of me. They, you know, like, they'd slice their own stomachs open and put me in there if I was cold kind of people, you know. There's just, you need care. You die without it. And you have to, thinking back to them as an adult, it's one of those things that makes me realize that, like, yeah, like, you have to let people care for you sometimes. Even if you don't want it or need it, you have to let them at least feel your tendrils, your energy kind of react to theirs, just for everyone's sanity, I think sometimes. Yeah.
What life lesson did you learn the hard way?
Every single one, man. I'm a hard learner. There's not like one thing where I've been able to learn it vicariously or from not having to like fuck up at least once. Like, I've spoiled relationships and friendships and opportunities and everything. Like, my mom, like, this is why she's one of the most important people, is because, like, I would just especially as a teenager, like, you can tell me, like, that element on the stove is hot, and I'm not gonna put my hand on it. I'm gonna, like, put my cheek on it and then just see what happens. Like, oh yeah, I guess you were right. You know, there's like, on the one hand, like, it would probably be nice if I could glean wisdom, you know, second-handedly and not have to, you know, go through all that stuff. But at the same time, like, shit, not gonna do that again, man. So you learn lessons the hard way, but they're chiseled in, like they're stone tablets, you know, in your mind now. Oh man, like, that goes with everything: drugs, drinking, like, just various kinds of, like, delinquency, relationships with girlfriends, and any moral lesson you can imagine. Like, I had to learn by doing, you know. I had to be the protagonist, or I guess the antagonist, who became the protagonist in the story, you know. I could have saved myself some trouble and gray hairs, I think, but such is life. We're here now. Yeah.
What are you holding on to that's holding you back?
I want to say fear of failure, but I've had a lot of losses, and they haven't killed me yet. They haven't, like, hammered in those coffin spikes. So I don't know if it's that. I'm trying to think, because, like, whenever I think of things like this, it just always comes down to writing and how I'm not where I want to be and what I have to do to get there and what I would be willing to do. And I'm willing to do anything. I'm willing to speak with anyone. One fear that I have that holds me back is I don't understand the concept of networking. I don't understand. It might be a fear of trying to, like, you know, like, open up and meet new people. But I don't know if you call that a fear of failure, but I really don't like having to like have those very forced interactions. I do. Is that a fear though? Is it a fear of having to? Authors are fucking pricks. And everyone's so like, you don't write because you like going out in the world and experiencing things and you're very, very, very amiable, amicable. You write because you are an incredibly self-centered person who has a lot of cleansing to do or has a story they want to tell. And your story is more important than anybody else's. That's why you're sitting there writing your story and not some other motherfuckers. So the problem with that is like when you meet people, they're not talking about people who are used to collaborating. You're talking about people who are like very, very inside themselves, And it's not like people are going to throw an open hand out. It's not like this is a thriving medium. So it's every person for itself, and unfortunately, it doesn't come down to a razor tag or a knife fight. I think you can agree to. I don't know if you think you can agree. Perhaps you might concur when I say like when you don't make it, for every day that you're not achieving or that you're not living the life that you see as being the one that you should be living, you feel like the failure. You feel like you're not doing enough, or what you're doing is not landing, or you have to diversify, and that doesn't help. That those anxieties and that depression and those feelings that like of inadequacy in not only the material world but also in the immaterial one that exists kind of in your own head and soul. So it's hard to kind of think of like one fear or one thing that's holding me back, because at the end of the day, it's me. It's not the world out there. It can't be, because enough people are making it. People who are maybe not as talented, or people who are exceedingly talented, people who just had their own kind of niche or that moment in time where they capitalized on it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's something, and it's almost like an indefinable fear. Maybe it's just a fear of. Maybe it could be failure, but if there was a fear of failure, then would you try? And how much would you try? And how much would you like agonize over this instead of just getting a job at a car dealership or saying fuck it and working on your project when you have time? But it's not a fear of hard work, and it's not a fear of self-loathing. So I don't know. But yeah, it'd be nice. I guess the only thing to kind of finish that long ass thought is like I would like to see a change, if only because I would like to see if that would like alleviate what I consider like the hellions of like anxiety and depression, like that you feel. And would that change with success? Would that change if you were able to kind of like conquer those mountains that have previously been unscalable? Or is that just you? Or was it never about that? Or can you move on to the next thing? Because I think artists in general, you, myself, everybody, through telling other people's stories or telling your own, you're untangling a lot of like this knotted orange electrical cord of Christmas decorations and and lights, trying to like just get everything ironed out. And while you're doing this side gets bunched up. So it's a never-ending work. But you wouldn't try and put it out to the world or make an effort if you didn't think there was something valuable, you didn't think that the conversation or the engagement was worth having in the first place. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm not scared of the dark. I just wouldn't mind slicing a little slicing the fabric of, the universe a little bit to let some light in, because I haven't seen my hands for a minute, and you can feel them and you can know they're there in the dark, but if you don't see them, how do you know they exist? Are you just floating around, or are you actually still a human being?